What's going on, everybody? We're back for the NHL 26 Hut Ultimate Deep Dive, and honestly, this is the bread and butter for me for this game. I'm a Hut player, top 100 player, top 100 champs runner. Like, to me, this is what I want to see. What changes are going to be made, not just from what they say, but what's the presentation going to look like. We got an 8-minute deep dive, so I'm not going to, wait any longer. Let's get into it and let's take a peek at this. So the first thing we're going to see is the main menu refresh here. And if anybody knows this from the first time, yes, this stuff is slow. It feels like you're running it on an Xbox 360, PS3, something from, what feels like centuries ago now. I'm very excited for them. They have changed the menus now. It's given more of like a simplistic look, kind of what we see in Wildcard, but honestly, it's a change that's much needed and much needed to see. As you are going to see as well, there's going to be Cup Chase. If you've played MLB before, it's kind of like mini seasons, going to be done a little bit differently, and it's going to have its own set of rewards. Competitive. So unlike Rivals, you will see Ranked and you will see Champions. Wild Card is still going to be on there, along with Moments and your casual gameplay. For this section, because I'm going to move my head over so we can kind of take a look at everything, if you take a peek up at the top left, yes, you're going to see your daily objectives, but they've made the menu mimic more like FIFA. Your Ranked, your Champions, Discover Sets, Auction Store, My Team, easily being able to put through. You're going to have a ranking system, Bronze. They'll get into that here in just a little bit. Your rewards, kind of like the XP path. You're going to have stuff for the XP path also, but we're going to have rewards kind of like, how it's set when we naturally go through the progressions of eShell and stuff like that. And as you can see right here, we are going to also have a salary cap. So with the salary cap, yes, it is going to be a thing. We're going to get into it on how to bump up the salary cap, all that kind of different stuff, and if we're really going to run into any issues. You're going to see also that the main menu is going to switch to probably your top either goal performer or performance-based player. So you kind of get an idea of who you naturally lean on in the game. All right, moving me back over here. Now, this is one of our first looks at everything. So this is going to be the new way the menus are going to be set up, and honestly, a lot easier to navigate, especially if you're wanting to make switches when you're looking at this. It's also going to help when it comes time for your synergies, aka your line chemistry synergies that could give you salary boost, AP boost, overall boost, which they'll get into. Your salary cap's going to be here, and I know you're going to say, hey, it's 107 million and we're over the cap right now. However, when you end up seeing this as well, if you're looking at these, you're seeing 85, 86, a random 77, 85, 86, 83, 84, 86, 85, 83, 84, 84. All of these different things kind of play into it as well. Like this is a pretty high overall squad, especially early on. I don't think we're going to see, people come out with this, especially, I don't know if we're going to be able to make all the icons or not. We're seeing all these different icon-based players. But as you see, you are going to see a salary boost based off of different line combinations. And before we make that switch, you can also see it over here. The salary cap, when it gives that salary cap boost, will change from 100 million over to 101 million based off of the synergy. Cup Chase is going to break down into building your squad, taking on CPU opponents. There's going to be an 18-game season and finish the top 4 to reach the playoffs. It's a best of 3 series, and then you will get rewards based off that. The biggest thing to take in mind is, yes, it's kind of like squad battles with a goal in mind, but I believe you get easier rewards from it depending on the difficulty you play on. You'll get different variations of awards. So if you are on Rookie compared to Superstar, it's going to be far less than if you played it on Superstar. And they'll have different things that you can try to get goals while playing this 18-game season, like not losing a game or scoring X amount of goals. It really does remind me kind of the MLB's mini seasons. As you can see here, this is when they got qualified for the game, or what you're going to see on the title. You will be able to take that team into the Cup Chase, and I like it because it allows me to try different line combinations and kind of mess around with stuff to see if there's a different feel to it based off of different players' synergies. Once again, like it's showing, you can select your difficulty on what you want, regardless if it's Rookie, Semi-Pro, Pro, Superstar, All-Star, whatever it may be, you can select that for the duration of your Cup Chase. Once again, you are going to have different rewards just for the Cup Chase. That's different from the XP path and different from the reward path. So you can see on here, there's playoff rewards, champion rewards, undefeated rewards. We'll see how well they are. I don't think they said in the deep dive, like specifically, you know, like what are the odds or what you're getting out of these packs, but it should be fairly interesting. All right, going into chapter 3, they're explaining the new ranking system. So essentially going into Hut rank, win games to climb a ranked ladder, you'll be matched against similarly ranked opponents. Earn rewards as you progress through each season. Rewards are instantly granted to your collection. Reach Ultimate Division to earn exclusive rewards for each season. As you can see right up on top here, that is where you're going to see that, you know, you're currently in the bronze section for these rewards. They do also allude to the fact that if you are going for Hut Champs, so in the prior formats, you would have to play X amount of Rivals games to get 2,000 points to then trade in weekly to then qualify for Hut Champs. Now, if you reach the rank of, say, Bronze 1 or Silver 1 or whatever it may be, that will qualify you for champs for the entire duration of the season. So no longer do you have to do a Rivals grind every single week to earn X amount of points to then qualify for champs. As long as you hit it in the pathway, you're good to go for the whole season. So through this ranking system, you're going to see on here your bronze, silver, gold, and it works its way up. As you see a snapshot here, the Rank Silver 3-pack reward contains 5 players, including 3 75-plus overalls and 1 80 overall player. Now, if you're looking at some of the icon players and stuff that are being released, those are 86s and 84s. The 80s might not do too bad. And on here, it's not saying whether it's untradeable, tradable, or, you know, account bound. I'm kind of curious if they'll change that when the game does actually release. I'm hoping it's tradable so we can maybe make some coins out of this as well if you don't like the players. You can see once you get into the platinum, it naturally progresses forward. Contains 9 players, including 3 77 plus, 379 plus, and 181 overall. And all the way into Diamond, where Diamond shows that you're going to get 9 players, 2 75s, 2 80 pluses, and 181 overall. Once you get up high enough, you are into the Elite rewards, and you can see here that it contains 6 players, including 182 plus overall, 177 plus, and 183. From what we do know on the X, or this ain't the XP path, but the ranking pathway, say if you get into Elite 1 and you lose your first game, once you get into those elite tiers, you no longer regress back to Diamond. So you will actually stay in that, so you can't go back. What this does mean is a good thing, because if you were in Division 1 and you realized, hey, all I need is 30 wins to be able to get the max rewards playing Rivals or Hut Champs in a week, people will tank, go to Division 4, get their 30 wins in Division 4, and never look back because there's the same rewards system. Now, when you move forward on this, I think this is going to be extremely beneficial because it's going to lock you into these rankings so they can't regress. So naturally, everybody's going to progress together. Now, what I do think is going to happen is people are going to stall in these Elite or Diamond or wherever it may be because maybe they lose games. Yes, you can probably go up from 1 to 2 to 3, but I'm guessing if you lose, it might drop you back down to as low as, say, Elite 1. So I think it's going to be very tough to get these ultimate rewards, but let's take a look at what those ultimate rewards look like they're going to have. Looks like you're going to get what we call the No Life Hockey Ultimate Team jersey. Nah, I'm just kidding. If you grind this far ahead, well, you're probably going to see this on somebody somehow in the first week or two of the game, and it's going to blow my mind, but yes, people are going to be that good at the game. It naturally is, and people are going to dump loads and loads of money onto it. But we'll see how fast these jerseys come out. What do you guys think down below for that? At the same time, the Ultimate Reward Pack is going to contain 6 players, including 182 plus, 280 plus overalls, and 186. If you've looked at the game, 86s or 80... even 87. I don't even know if I've seen an 87 yet, but like the 86s are going to be one of the highest in the game. If this reward stays as is, I'm hoping it's at least tradable as well, because that would be absolutely nuts. And then you also got the Ultimate Team Dark jersey as well. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a sick setup. I do like the jerseys. All right, the next piece they're gonna focus on is the team building and how you can activate some of these synergies. So just based off what you're seeing, they already have a salary cap bump, and we're going to show you how and why. As you can see here, there's going to be different line combinations. This is just based off salary. If you take a look at the top, you're going to have salary, overall, and AP point limits that can get bumped up. If you run a combination of three forwards, that are from Sweden, it is going to bump your salary cap up $1 million. If you do a line combination that has a Colorado Avalanche, Winnipeg Jet, and a Mammoth player, it can bump it up $2 million. You're going to see this on the forwards and the defensive sides just for salary cap bump purposes. As we do a freeze frame here, you are going to see that they have an AP boost because there is 3 people from Canada here. That's why you're seeing the AP boost already there added too. And you are going to see overalls being bumped because of these captain's cards, which they'll explain here in just a few moments. As you see, they ended up switching their line combinations here. So as you take a look at it, he ends up switching to put 2 Canadians together. And just like that, bam, your ability points go up once again. So now he can have up to 8 activated. Also taking a look at it, there is another salary cap combination based off of the previous page, and it gave it a $1 million bump. So here's one of the first looks at the Connor McDavid card. It is already an 85 overall, and it looks like he has elite wheels, elite edges, and elite ankle breaker. And once again, think of it kind of like a gold, silver, and a bronze. The gold version is going to be elite. The next version down is going to be all-star. That's going to be like your silver, and specialist is like bronze. So he is going to have wheels, elite edges, and ankle breaker that will cost 3 ability points to activate for the synergies. So here is a look at Connor McDavid. I'm going to move my head up here while I'm talking to you guys. But 93 Excel, 92 speed, 85 endurance. So it is good to point out compared to the icon and the heroes, 85 endurance. The other ones were only, I think the highest I saw was either 78 or 79. His shot isn't great, but it isn't horrible either. 87 slap shot accuracy, 83 for the power, 89 wrist shot accuracy, 84 wrist shot power. His hands are in the low 90s, and his defensive stats, you're going to see 75 on the faceoff. So I do like the fact that they're bringing this more true to life because it's like the endurance being higher. Yeah, I like the dudes on the ice a lot. Faceoffs, we didn't see him as much, maybe like at center, maybe he was playing more wing, whatever it may be, but they didn't give him an overall like a high amount of faceoffs. So maybe this stuff of being more true to life this year will come in, especially with that edge technology. As you go up, you are going to see some different line combinations that are going to activate for salary, overall, and AP. You can see the line switch that just happened, giving them a +1 overall boost. Yes, +1 to every statistical category. That is going to be ginormous depending on who you pick here early on in the game and different line combinations as well. You can also see on here that now they've changed. Tim Stützle is an 86, McDavid an 86, Messier is an 86 overall. Some other cards to note on here. I'm pumped because I see Jason Pominville down there, so nice addition, add another Minnesota Wild in there. Let's keep it going. Here's our first look at some of the stuff you are going to see. You're going to see fresh ice icons, heroes, and captains. That is going to be around all year long. And they're going to explain the importances between the icons and the heroes and the captains and the roles that they're going to play. As you see on here, you are going to have the captain's effect. So a captain here to activate the chemistry, depending on where your player's from, the requirement, you're going to need 6 players from the Atlantic Division. That will give them all a +1 boost. So these captains are going to play pivotal roles depending on how many players you use out of a specific division. But once you get it, you can see here the turning of the tide as he has 6 players now go +1 overall. And that might revamp some of your lines and how they're going to be done. As you can see here, there are some different guys that they do have on for the captain. Between, is it Anders Lee, Patrick Laine, Jonas Brodin, and Mackenzie Weegar? Who will you guys decide to use? And I like the fact that, yes, they're only 82 overalls, but you're thinking if you get them activated, maybe you'll bump that bad boy up. Maybe this is one you don't pick until you kind of get your lineup set, because then you know what division you may want to pick from there depending on how your lineup shakes out. So as you see on here, you're going to see the Hut Heroes. So the Hut Heroes are probably one of the favorites that are coming out of those teams, or they've been known for more memorable moments. But we already reviewed those in the past one, but we are going to see variations of these Hut Heroes throughout the game. Once again, the Hut Icons. The Icons are going to stand out. That's why they're an 86 overall. They are what they call the game changer, or like one of the defining players of, you know, a generation, or when you think of this team, this is the person you immediately think of. That's why we see Fedorov, Thornton, Pronger, Chelios, Lundqvist, and Teemu Selanne. Once again, if you look at yesterday's YouTube video, I also reviewed these cards as well, so you can see all the statistics on all of them. You're going to see these rookie cards have Jordan Binnington, Quinn Hughes, and Sidney Crosby. Who will you decide? It might come down to, well, Quinn Hughes, the speed initially early on is going to pay dividends for you, but depend on how your lineup shakes out, maybe you need one or the others. So the alumni looks like they're going to have their own set of cards as well. So when you're going through, it's kind of nice seeing some of these different cards. I don't know for sure. Did we have Hagelin or Andrew Ladd in the last game out of genuine curiosity? At the same time, did we ever have Nicholas Cronwell as well? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't think I saw... Well, maybe Pecorine never just got an upgrade or something like that. I'm not too sure. But we do see the 85 overall Wayne Gretzky here at the end. The other thing to note is if you do have the early access, you will have availability to the Fresh Ice event. That is only available if you have the early access, so it'll be generally just secluded just for that. So make sure if you do, take advantage of that, because that could be some good cards you could get out of that as well. If you take a look as well, some of these Fresh Ice players you are going to see are Tyler Seguin, O'Reilly, Brock Faber, Logan Thompson, and Matthew Tkachuk. They are also going to have an XP season, an early release XP season, to collect as much as you possibly can. So that's also a nice benefit of getting the early releases. You can get a jump start on some of these things. You're going to see different collectibles, packs, just like what we saw last year. I'm hoping that they do have a tweak, like they don't put a limitation on at the end. I don't want to be punished for continuing to play the game, if that makes sense. But it looks like there's some choice packs out there, but it kind of looks very eerily similar, just different, you know, pack coloring from what we saw this past year. So this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be called Chell Weeks. I don't know if we're going to see this every single week. From my understanding, it might happen once a month or once a season, but you can also see on here that there's some limited cards that will be released during this Chell Week. I believe that's Kadri, Wilson, Slavin, and Chychrun, or am I wrong on that? It looks like it. I could be wrong. Don't yell at me in the comments down below. But it just gives you another chance at building some different cards with it as well. I'm not going to lie. The Spotlight card, like the card art on some of these things that we've seen, absolutely immaculate. You're seeing the 85 overall Sam Bennett. But man, I'm thoroughly impressed by the card art on a side note. Hey, I was actually right. It was Trouba, Slavin, and Wilson. They are 84 overall cards. I'm hoping they don't do Slavin dirty, but essentially they have these Weeks players as kind of like like a cornerstone, essentially, of a team. Something very recognizable currently. Last but not least, once again, the pre-order is out, but this is a completely different look at HUT. I've only been playing for the past couple years, but this seems to be kind of like a revamp as far as how the menus look. Kind of, I say more of like a simplistic look, like easier to navigate, but I like what they're doing. I'm really hoping, though, they don't continue to do us dirty in like champs, but I don't mind the cup chase, because instead of 30 wins, the squad battles, which nobody likes to do, now you're doing 18 games, and now it's almost benefiting you to do it on Superstar compared to just doing it to get chores out of the way. You know what I mean? Like, you're actually pushing to get something done and accomplished. At the same time, I do like the fact that once you qualify for champs, it's not like you have to do this over and over and over again. Because if you're like any regular person, maybe you take a week or two off and the season's still going on and you come back, you want to just be able to hop right into champs compared to having to do it all over again. There are probably some things that I missed, but for me personally, playing this game mode, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of good things that could potentially come from this. And potential is the best word I'm going to keep it at, because with all these changes, it could potentially flop. The salary cap could really prohibit us from getting the ultimate and hockey ultimate team. I don't think it should ever be restricted. But at the same time, I do like the fact that they're going to force us to maybe not run the same line combinations over and over and over again by having some of those synergies. But at the same time, it could also bottleneck you into only getting certain players because you need those synergies to make the salary cap or the AP limits work or some other things. I think there's a lot of things set in place that could be really good. I think there's some chase cards that we see on here between the icons that are going to be very good to keep up with as the year continues on. But I want to get your guys' thoughts. What are your thoughts on this kind of like an overhaul of HUT? Do you think this is a step in the right direction? What are your fears? What's some goods and bads out of it? And, you know, like, let me know your comments down below. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're only a few short days away from NHL 26. You can catch me here live. And for any other news that might come out, I will also kick out additional YouTube videos. Thank you guys so much and have a great Labor Day. If you're here in the States, don't know if you guys celebrate that up in Canada or wherever you may be in the world. But either way, it was great having a holiday day off. Love you guys.